Hello everybody, this is Dana from the Freedom Please channel and essenceofme.com. I'm coming on today with, I guess it's somewhat of a part two to the blog that I did about a week and a half ago called Dream Chasing. And in that blog, I talked about, towards the end I talked about how I go through the process of identifying my dreams and turning those dreams into goals. As a part of that conversation that was initiated, there was a question that came up, and I thought I would get back a little sooner, but I had to really think about the response that I wanted to share. So, this blog is going to be part two of the Dream Chasing blog, and it's going to be a response to um, what I'm going to call defining your why. And we're going to go into it a little bit more. If you want to know about it, yes, this is a chattericious, totally made a word, a chatty type of video. So for my crafters, go grab your projects as always. For those of you that are here specifically for this blog, stick around and I will make myself available in the comment section for any questions or just general comments that you have. I was totally blessed by the ones that I received last time, and so I look forward to continuing the conversation. So if you want to know a little bit more about taking the next step, once you go from dreams and you turn them into goals, then what do you need to do, or how do you get that to follow through once you've identified where you want to go? That's what this blog is going to be about. I hope you will stick around. If not, I will see you on the next video. And for all of you that are sticking around, hang on after the introduction, and I will see you on the other side. See you in a bit. Okay, I am getting better at those introductions. I try my best not to fumble through them. I think about these videos quite a bit, but I don't script them. And I don't script them for quite a few reasons. One of the reasons is I really enjoy the ability to just talk to you. If I was in a conversation with you one-on-one and we were sitting down over tea or having coffee, or for me today, I'm drinking water, my old, very old Weight Watchers cup, this is how the conversation would go. It wouldn't be this whole polished song and dance. It would be more so a heart-to-heart kind of conversation. And that's another reason why I wanted to do the introduction, because I understand this is not for everybody. I am doing this for those who want it, and I'm also doing it for myself. It's purely an obedience thing, and it's also a thing of understanding people and wanting to be in a better place and getting unstuck. So the last video, as I said in the introduction, I talked about how I go from my dreams or ideas or visions that I feel like God has given me, and how do I take those and develop them into goals. And a comment was written on that video, and basically I'm paraphrasing, but the person said, I've done that before. I've gone from the dreams to having a goal. I've had an accountability person that did follow up with me, but I just didn't get to the other side. I didn't stick with it. And I had to really think about it, not because I didn't know what the initial response. My initial response is, wow, what is your want to? Why? Why do you want to do whatever that goal is? Because, we could really sit down and do a lot of planning, a lot of chatting, a lot of conversing about whatever it is. But if our want to is not strong enough, and it's not enough to endure what is ahead, then it really doesn't matter. You just spent that time writing. Then you feel the adverse effect of that, which is you feel sad, you feel, you may even feel depressed. You may feel that you don't want to talk to that friend or that accountability person, so you avoid them because you want to avoid those conversations. Because if you have to give an update, the update is I did absolutely nothing. And so that's why it's important to think about this step. And so I had to think about it in a sense of looking at myself. And in the past, I've done that. I mean, I've done it here on YouTube. And there's been so many times where I've said, self, I'm going to remove all those old videos so there will be no evidence of me starting and not finishing, starting and not finishing. But on the other hand, I think that's being real. That is keeping it 100. That's just like I had someone telling me in a conversation how they just love all my videos, how I just come on and sometimes I have makeup and sometimes I don't. And I really believe that. That's because if you see me on the street, this is me. Now, you can't get a hug via camera because I am a hugger. Um, but this is me. And when I'm going through those cycles and I'm going through those struggles and I'm in a place of getting unstuck, usually that means you have to take a step. And if you don't continue to take those steps, well, then that's when you find yourself on the other end of that, in that state of incompletion. And so, with all of that said, I'm going to tell you, I'm looking down because I took notes because I did not want to forget this. I believe that every person that has some idea of what their purpose is and it's unsatisfied, you're sitting in a state of really, you really sit in this state of having that unrealized potential in you. And I think with that can come beating down on yourself or feeling like eventually you're not worthy or changing the goal and saying, oh, I really didn't want that. I want something else. And that something else may be a lesser goal, a short-term goal that, or something smaller in stature, in that you feel like, okay, I can do this. But that goal may not be a stretch. And then there are other times when goals are unrealized where it has nothing to necessarily do with something that it wasn't something that we kind of brought on ourselves, but life brought on us. And then we found ourselves in this reaction mode where we're just reacting and trying to stay afloat. And all the while, it seems like our dreams are on this boat on in the water, and the waves are slowly causing it to float further and further out. And then we get to this point where we don't want to dream anymore. We don't want to try it and fail. We don't want to risk saying, oh, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and then don't do it again. And I hope that through this video that I can maybe give you some tips of getting unstuck, and hopefully I can encourage you to try again. I mean, if you shoot for nothing, you're going to hit it every single time. I know you've heard that quote, and you've done it. I've done it. But you never know what you can and can't do until you try. And so I would rather be like this infamous, not start an unfinisher, but not afraid of starting something because I'm scared. I don't want to be scared. I don't want to be fearful, because what I most desire may be on the other side of my obedience. And I'll never know if I don't. So with all of that said, I want to challenge you to create an environment of success. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, defining your want to and understanding what your why is. But I think in the end, it's about creating an environment of success. And what that means for me is that once you've gone through that process of having those goals, having the goal now in mind, and then when we finish those steps, we also have potentially the beginning steps of having a plan. Then what you then do is start trying to have an environment of success. And I kind of loosely hinted at that by having an accountability partner or someone that you can go through the journey with, maybe even a buddy, accountability buddy. But creating an environment of success will then say, what do I need to align in my environment to help me to achieve this goal? An environment of success, if you know you want to lose 15 pounds, would be ridding yourself of junk food in your household. Now, that doesn't mean that you will never in your life have junk food, but you may choose and the alternative of being, I will only have uh, sweets when I'm out at a restaurant or when I'm away from home, or I will only buy individualized snacks instead of a box of snacks or something like that, right? That's creating an environment of success so that when you come into your home, you don't have the stress or the tug of war of having something that is extremely tempting to you within an arm's reach. And then it's this battle of wills between you and this inanimate object, chips or Debbie's, okay? And so, another example of creating an environment of success, if you are a person that you want to write, that's something that's important to me, and I find this tug of war in that space. To create an environment of success for me, and writing means that I have to pick those opportune times to write when I'm at my best. So usually I either have to write extremely early in the morning because the quietness of my house is really helps my thoughts and the energy to flow. Even though I listen to music, which is weird, but not being disturbed or mom or, that comes with having a family. And that's creating an environment of success. The other thing about success that I do want to be very clear about is I don't want that success to be something that's not real, and not in success as being, oh, a dollar amount, or because we cannot dictate results, okay? We can only have control over our own actions. But you do want to have that success being something that is measurable, something that is, maybe if an outside party were to look at your progress, they too would say that you were successful or you accomplished that goal or that task. And so, the way that I wrote it to myself is, in my past, having an environment of success has also been like signing up for races. And if once I complete the race, they give you a medal. And that medal was this sign, an outward sign that I accomplished my task. And usually those races are on the lines of other goals. But that was the incremental goals that I needed to do to achieve the big goal. For some people, it may be the pounds that they lose. And that one I use very, very, very loosely, just because sometimes if you're a person that maybe you only want to lose 5 pounds, you may find that it's harder to lose 5 pounds than it was to lose your first 20. And so that's why I use it loosely, because you would rather it to be attached to something that you can control, which are your actions. So instead of it be pounds, I would prefer it be something like I will exercise 30 minutes at least 5 days a week at the gym, or doing a DVD, something that is measurable, that we can see that it's been done. And I hope that makes sense to you. Um, so then, how do we define our why? That's what it's all about. Why do you want to do it? What is your want to? And the first thing that I put is define your want to, and it has to be enough. Your want to and your why. It has to be enough to endure what I'm going to tell you in number two. And number two is define your greatest perceived challenges in obtaining your goal. And I say that because if we want something, but it's not a strong enough want or strong enough desire that you're willing to defy, whether it's negativity or hard times or tough places, then then you got to go back to number one and define your why again, because it has to be strong enough to endure, especially for really, really big goals. One of the greatest goals of my time, of my life. I mean, there's been many, but um, one of them was writing my first novel. I tell you, that was so hard. I mean, even now working on my second full novel, I mean, it's so difficult. And so I have to reevaluate my want to often. I can't want to write the second novel just because readers want to read it. That's a great thing. but I have to want to do it because I love writing. I love sharing stories. I love communicating certain truths in an entertaining fashion. And so my why or my want to has to be strong enough to endure the hours of writing, the hours of editing, the cost that I um, take on in order to publish a book. And so all of those things stand against my why. And when it doesn't, that's when I find that it's easy for me to weasel out of that goal. Okay. So that number two again was to define your greatest perceived challenges in obtaining your goal. And that you need to define the people, maybe the places, the things, the times. For some people, if they want to work on being more outgoing. I'm trying to think. I don't know, so I won't keep using food examples. Being more outgoing. This time of the year may be really hard for them to step out of their comfort zone because a lot of people are spending time with their family and their friends, and they may not be as accepting of new people in their circles. So you need to know what those things are. And it's not just to know them and write them on paper, but it's really to prepare yourself so that you'll recognize those stumbling blocks when they come upon you. Number three is to define your MO. Now, your MO is your modus operandi. It's a Latin word, and I know you've heard it before if you watch any crime shows, and I don't watch a lot of them, but it's a legal term, so that's where I know it from. But your modus operandi is really about the way that you work, your habits. And when you think about it in a sense of your goals, you've got to know how you work. No one knows you better than you. So that you know that if X, okay, here I go. I'm spilling all my beans today. This time of year, when it is cold, it is so hard for me to go outside and run. Now, cold weather running is actually the best running for you because I live in Texas and it's extremely hot in the summertime. And running in the heat is no fun. But I'd rather run in the heat than run in the cold. And so that means that this time of the year, I have to have a gym membership. I don't like paying for it, but I have to have a gym membership so that if it's cold outside, that my excuse is not, okay, it's cold outside, I'm not going to run. And that is something that, of course, eventually I want to get out of. But as of right now, I know that's me. And so knowing my modus operandi, my habits, things that cause me to get off of course, then that means I can then place things in my life to correct the potential of getting off course. Does it mean I don't ever get off course? Oh no. Or I wouldn't be starting, not finishing, starting, not finishing. But what it does mean is that every time I try again, I have that much more of an opportunity to be successful because I learn something about myself every single time I start again. And so you're looking for your habits, actions, triggers, any of those things, especially concerning your goal. Because remember, we're looking at your why and your want to. And this is important because once you know things that are potential challenges, then you start looking at your habits. And not only can you look at things that can negatively affect you, but especially look at the things that can positively affect you. With my writing habits, if if I wake up before everyone else in my house wakes up, and I make a cup of coffee or a cup of hot tea, and I sit down at my computer, I find that I can write 3, 4, 5 hours almost nonstop. But if I start after lunch or at 2 in the afternoon, it will be difficult for me to even do 30 or 45 minutes of writing. Even if I have on headphones trying to, block everything out, it just doesn't work. And so that's knowing, perceived challenges as well as my modus operandi and figuring out something that will help me to be more successful in achieving that goal. The last thing, which is number 4, is define your want to and your why against. again, I'm sorry, to define your want to and your why, and or why again. And I say I had to do number 4 because it's just like number 1, but after you go through number 2, of perceived challenges, number 3, your modus operandi, your habits, your things that usually trigger you, people, places, and things, and all that other stuff, you know, actions that you have to go to execute a particular behavior, that may redefine your why. That may even take you back to the last video of redefining that goal more specifically once you go through these steps. And so I'm going to say all of those again. Number 1 is to define your want to or your why. And make sure, again, that you're as detailed as you can, but it shouldn't be this whole long dissertation. I mean, I think if you did the first video, you have already gone through this feeling, you've gone through, and you've dwindled down the most pressing things. And when you get here, now that's kind of where the rubber meets the road as to whether you're really going to pursue this and move forward. Number 2 is define your greatest perceived challenges in obtaining your goal. And that could be people, places, things, yourself. Number 3, define your MO, your modus operandi. And that's going to be, how you operate, your habits, your actions that you usually take in order to execute a particular behavior or to bring about a certain outcome in the past. And those things can help you in doing number 4, which is once again defining or reshaping that want to or why again. I hope this is helpful. I could go on forever about this, as you can see. But I think in the end, if you know yourself, then you have to write these goals and you have to go after them as if you know yourself. As if you know, okay, I can talk myself out of this. I can talk myself out of that, which is why having an accountability buddy, or even when you are doing a new workout plan, having a workout buddy is so helpful, because usually it's harder for us to work around other people. We usually don't want to disappoint other people. I don't know why we're more comfortable sometimes with disappointing ourselves, but we won't do it to other people. But here, I hope that you will really look at just yourself and what you need to do to be in the best possible space that you can in your life, and to maximize that place of joy and that place of peace. And so in the end, by doing all of these things, back to the top of the video, I believe that you really can create an environment of success, because it's going to start telling you what things you need to pluck away, what things you need to do more of, what things you need to rearrange. And quite honestly, I'm just like you. I'm working right now on my goals. I'm reworking my schedule. I know that for me, usually the first 4 to 5 weeks is going to determine a lot about me and my pursuit of any type of change in my life. And the reality is, I've read different statistics and things like that, and that's normal. So I guess that's a good thing. But I mean, I want to let go of that. And so that's something I just got to be very focused on. If you have any comments or questions about this topic, please leave them in the comment section. As always, I look forward to interacting with you all. If there was something that I said that you didn't understand, or you would like a point of clarification, please let me know. If you would like to hear something in more detail, let me know. As I'm doing these for you, I'm doing them for me also. This time of the year, I spend quite a bit of time working out my goals and my plans for the next year. And I've told you all, I'm carrying some things over from this year into next year. And I'm totally okay with that. But I want to make sure that hopefully you're achieving some things that you want to achieve in your life too. So I look forward to interacting with you all. Thank you so much for your support. I didn't say it, but welcome to all my new subscribers, because I think I had almost 100 new subscribers this month. And I look forward to doing the next, hopefully another installment of Dream Chasing. So take care, and I look forward to talking with you all, hopefully sooner than later. Goodbye.